Hi y'all, I'm Sionna, and today we're going to be talking about science, specifically science involving pop rocks. But how is this science? Well, I think anything can be scientific as long as we're asking a question, guessing the results, or giving a hypothesis, and then evaluating our answers or results at the end. For example, what would happen if I threw this rock? Perhaps it would go flying in the air. Perhaps it could make it skip on water. Or maybe I would break something. But we wouldn't know until we actually do the action. But you gotta start with a guess. Well, you start with your question, what would happen if I threw this rock? And then you move on to guessing the result. And I think I could throw this rock farther than my neighbor. I think I could get it to skip 11 times, and I probably would break something if I threw it. Then you've got to test it. I've got my question. What would happen if I threw this rock? I have my guess. And then you've got to do the action. You have to do the thing in order to see if your guess is right. Let's say I did throw the rock. I threw it at water, and I couldn't get it to skip it. Did a dive, sunk. Well, then I have to evaluate those results. Why did it sink? Why is it that some rocks don't sink? And it's that why. It's that curiosity, that drive to figure out or understand. That's what I love about science. So, in this video, I want to talk about some of the results to questions I had regarding Pop Rocks. Pop Rocks the candy. First up, spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't eaten Pop Rocks before, when you eat Pop Rocks, you'll feel and hear like a popping in your mouth. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's called the popping candy. Why? Why does it do what it does? I'm assuming it's because of our saliva, but would this candy pop in other liquids? Let's see. Okay, so first off, you gotta have eyewear. You gotta protect your eyes, because I mean, this is popping stuff and you really don't know what will happen. Second, make sure that you never look over what you're doing. It's just not safe, and the best kind of science is the safe science. It is. Gotta live to see another day. So, liquids that I'm trying out today. We've got room temperature water. This is to show kind of what it does with our saliva, since that's mostly water. We have oil, and this is hot water. Oh, and of course, our Pop Rocks. Okay, so first off, let's see what it does with regular water. So I'm going to first put it in my hand, so we're not using all of it. So I'm not sure if you can hear, but we are getting that popping sound, and you can see these bubbles coming off the Pop Rocks, yeah? So that's what's happening in your mouth when you're not chewing. And then in the oil, it doesn't look like much of anything is happening here. And look at that. Nothing but regular water is the bubbles. And then woo, into the hot water. That's a much bigger sound, right? Did you hear that? I much preferred that sound. Science in action. Let's see a little bit more. So again, water, we've got some slight popping, oil, nothing, and hot water. Ooh, kind of popped out at me there. And that was our experiment. So now we saw the results. Our question was what are pop rocks going to do in different liquids? We had the water. That was our test, see what happens with the saliva so we could see it happen. Then we had the oil and we had hot water. But now comes the evaluating of our results. Why did this happen? And this is where the research comes in, where you try to figure things out. But I am here today to tell you what happened. Here's what it is. First, you have to know that inside Pop Rocks, you have sugar, lactose, corn syrup, artificial flavor, red 40, and it's processed with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, why did I stress that? Well, carbon dioxide, carbon, di meaning two, oxide, CO2. CO2 is a natural gas, and it's one that is all around us. For example, breathe in, breathe out, all that, carbon dioxide. Well, basically, all of that, but that's much more detail. So when we breathe in oxygen, what comes out, what we process it out as, is carbon dioxide. Another way that CO2 is used is by plants. Plants, the opposite of us, plants take in or breathe in the CO2 and then they produce oxygen. So you got a little cycle going on. We take the oxygen and give the CO2 out so that the plants can take the CO2 and give us oxygen. Another common carbon dioxide use in the world is with soda. Have you ever opened the soda can or drank some soda and you hear that, the gas? You drink it, the bubbles. The bubbles. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? The bubbles from the soda, the popping of the Pop Rocks. Soda has carbonation. Carbon. It's made with CO2. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So, back to our Pop Rocks. Pop Rocks have CO2. And they're coated in their first ingredient, sugar. So, sugar dissolves in water. And again, that's our saliva. When the sugar dissolves in the water, the sugar of our Pop Rocks, when it dissolves in the water, it releases that CO2 that's within the candy. So the CO2 is released and the pop, 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 pop is when all the sugar is dissolving and it's coming out. That's why it's dissolving in water. That's why you're getting that popping. But it doesn't in the oil because oil doesn't dissolve sugar. So you're not going to get the pop because it's not, the CO2 is not released. Now, the hot water, it dissolves the sugar faster. So the reaction is a lot quicker. And that's all it is. It's just the sugar dissolving and the popping, that's all the reaction. Now, with that answer, it's your turn. So, now you get to experiment. You get to try the same. Use regular water. That's your base. That's how you know exactly what's happening here is happening there. So you know kind of what's supposed to go on. Then you can try it with the oil. See for yourself how it doesn't do anything. And then why not try some other liquids? Please remember to stay safe. Again, don't look over the top of any experiment. And always wear your eye protection. You gotta protect your eyes. Because if you try to crack open, say, a geode, not just a regular rock this whole time, this is a geode. If you try to open it without goggles, you could seriously injure yourself. That's why when you open one of these doodads, you either put it in a sock and gently tap it with a hammer, or you get a chisel and gently tap with the hammer all the way around as you try to open it the way you want. But you don't know what's going to happen with the shards that you're chipping away at. And that's why protection of some sort of your eyes. And if you injure your eye, you won't be able to see the beauty that's inside this geode. No, I'm not playing you. This is more than a rock. It is a geode, meaning because of a combination of pressure, heat, gases, and liquids, crystals are now formed inside this dude. The only way we know it's inside is if we break it open. I wonder what's inside this one. That's all for now. Please, please, please stay safe, have fun, and remain curious.